Hi, I'm Policorne and I would describe myself as an eco-conscious artist, and today I wanted to show you something interesting, something cozy, aesthetic, something that sparks joy in my soul every time that I see it in my daily life, and I really wanted to share it with you. I decided to show you how you can make Oshibana. These are paintings that are made from pressed flowers and leaves. I did a couple of pieces a few months ago, and since then this is my favorite piece of art at home. And of course it was necessary to start with the collection of flowers, and the end of May is the perfect time for that. I think this is the coolest way to keep your memories of specific days or adventures. Now every time when I go somewhere, I collect different flowers and put them in a sketchbook. So during this time I gathered a small collection. Plus, usually it's very difficult for me to throw away the purchased flowers, so by drying them you can keep them longer. Logical, right? Which is very cool. Therefore, I collected as many flowers as possible in the garden of my grandparents. Then I decided to dry the flowers in a quicker way by ironing them between the sheets of paper. I had never done this before with flowers, but yeah, that was okay. I won't say that I did a great job, but with experience it's getting better and better. As always, you need some practice with such craft. Also, instead of plain paper, I would recommend using soft, smooth napkins like this one with chickens. Well, yeah, because it will absorb more water than just regular paper. But at that time, I did not have such napkins, so I used what I found there. As well, I wanted to show you one more way of drying flowers, which I found on TikTok, of course, where else? And that is to put flowers in cotton pads. And this is the result. I think this turns out to be more delicate with flowers, but I didn't notice much difference, so do as you like. Also, on the same TikTok, I found a bunch of different other ways to dry flowers. The most popular of them is to dry flowers and leaves in silica. As far as I know, it is possible to dry them in semolina in similar way as well, but I never tried this before, so maybe in the future. I just didn't need these three-dimensional flowers because I wanted to put them in frame anyways. Now let's start making the paintings themselves. I decided to use old frames from the 2000s that I found at home. They were already in poor condition, so I decided to fix them because I didn't want to throw them away. One frame had to be cleaned from the back, and then I decided to sand another frame and paint it. To be honest, I repainted this frame about 10 times, first to get a flat surface and then a perfect color. Actually, I don't really like this frame. I don't think that suits my artwork, but for now it will be okay. I just don't want to throw away stuff. And in the end, frame looks like this. Then I picked the paper that I liked the most, and ideally I would like to make my own paper, but I don't have enough materials to do it. For example, I don't have a blender to use for paper. Let's have a short break to appreciate this beautiful sunset. Now let's see what I have in the collection. For example, my mom gave me these wild pansies. She dried them when I was just a kid. Can you imagine? Yeah, that's awesome. now the main task is to beautifully distribute flowers on paper and make a composition that you like. And this can be done endlessly. Now I understand why such an activity was given to samurai, to train perseverance. As stated in Wikipedia, and I can confirm as well, this activity really makes you feel at one with the nature. Flowers can be rearranged an infinite number of times. For example, it looked to me that I had finished the work, but the next day I decided to correct my composition again and rearrange flowers one more time. This perfectionism that does not allow me to live my life peacefully. And this is how the finished version looks like. I decided to use a glue stick to glue these flowers. Sometimes I added a drop of water to this glue, but surprisingly, this was the most difficult task for me. Actually, be sure to take a photo of your composition so that you can place it exactly as you assembled before. To be honest, in this work I definitely lacked the special tweezers. Therefore, I had to do everything with my shaking, sticky hands. This was a problem. But this is how the first artwork turned out, and I'm very pleased with it and happy it turned out great. Then I decided to do one more picture, but in completely different style. This time I decided to put together a specific picture that I had in mind. I found a bunch of beautiful examples of similar work, so yeah, you can see how beautiful they are, right? And I decided to draw my sketch. I really wanted to use the bark of the tree that I collected. Then I roughly selected the materials that I like in combination together. The only thing that I would advise is to first come up with the sketch and then collect flowers that you will need for your work. But yeah, this is like a minor thing that you can keep in mind. This time I decided to use PVA glue, and actually I liked it more. And now I can follow my creative process. As well, I decided to add the cutest duck made from petals. I'm surprised how nice and beautiful the work turned out. Like, really, genuinely surprised and happy. Yeah, so... And these are both the results that I got. But don't look at this frame, it's not good. That's fine. And I think that this is perfect as a gift, isn't it? That's amazing. I don't know. I really like my works and how they turned out. But so I'm truly in love with this hobby. Since I'm concerned about the environment, I think that fits perfectly with my interests, and that's great. These paintings turn out to be quite eco-friendly actually, because all the materials are collected from outside, except one. And the least eco-friendly material in this art piece is glue. But I think you can find an alternative to that. You just need to search a little longer. But if you're starting out, I think that's fine using glue. It's such a small amount of glue that's not so bad, right? I think it's much better than painting with acrylics. Am I right? I think I am. And you know what? I strongly advise you to try this out, to do this art form, art practice yourself, because it's amazing. Because it's relatively easy, the process is very pleasant, and the end result is amazing because you're using real flowers, and flowers are really beautiful, right? You know, only perhaps these paintings won't last you 100 years, but I don't really understand why people need this anyways in our modern world. But that's another conversation, right? Back to the topic. But thank you for choosing to be with me in your precious moments of life. I really appreciate that a lot. Yeah, and have a nice day, and especially have a great life. Yeah. And I'll leave all the links of social medias that I have down below, so you can check it out that later. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.